What's up guys, Mike here. I was reading an article by CNBC and it says 60% of Americans will be in debt if they have a $1,000 emergency. And as I was reading through this article, I was like, this is unacceptable and it has to change right now. As I was reading this article, I was honestly not surprised by this because financial literacy is not emphasized in school. So many people grow up and they don't know how to manage their money properly. On top of this, many parents don't teach their children about finances. And that's because literally they themselves don't understand it either. So let's talk about how you can manage your money like the 1%. So hopefully you'll never be in a position where $1,000 will cause you to go into debt either. When it comes to this, there are easy step-by-step blueprints the 1% know about that you can follow as well. Even if you are not in the 1% yet, if you do this consistently and long term, hopefully you'll also be in that 1% category as well. So how do the 1% manage their money? First of all, they always smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. But onto serious matter, they all understand the flow of money and how to allocate their funds, and it all starts with this. Step one is having a budget and tracking your expenses and eliminating any unnecessary spending. If you just do this one thing and skip the whole entire video and you just do this one thing, trust me, you will be ahead of 99% of the people because no one else does this and only the 1% do this. If you are at a point and you are struggling with money, then you absolutely need to do this right away. Consider this like your financial check engine light that turns on inside your car. Tracking your spending will tell you what's wrong and how you can fix it. Most people out there will ignore this and do not know how much they spend or what they are spending it on. All they know is they have X amount of money and that's how much they can spend. Then when their account gets low, they start cutting back until their next paycheck comes in, and then they repeat the process over and over again. Then when their account goes back up, they start to spend again, and then they start cutting back again, and then they start spending again. They're inside a loop that never ends. Doing this is not how the 1% manage their money. I highly recommend that you start tracking all your income and expenses over the next few months. I personally use mint.com, or you can also use personalcapital.com, which are totally free to use. You can also make your own Excel sheet. It really doesn't matter what you use as long as you start doing this right away and track your spending and expenses and get it all down over the next few months. Make this your next challenge. Over the next 3 months, track every single penny that goes into and out of your account. After 3 months, you could determine if you are spending money on things you don't need, like making stupid impulsive decisions and buying stuff that you don't need, like spending $5 every day at Starbucks. Or if you're otherwise wasting money without even realizing it. When it comes to this, you're more likely to save about 10% of your income by tracking your expenses and stop wasting money on things that you do not need. Next step is extremely important, and that is to create an emergency fund. Every single wealthy person that I know has an emergency fund that covers 3 to 6 months of their monthly expenses. This means you know from tracking your expenses how much money you spend every single month to live on. Now just save 3 to 6 times that in a high yield savings account that pays at least 1.7% interest rate. This is your emergency fund. That doesn't mean if Walmart has a sale on 4K screen TVs and you have money lying around and you go and buy that. This is for emergency use only. This is not your, oh, I got $200 lying around, let's go to Mastro's and get a steak and a filet because I need that. This fund really needs to be your break in case of an emergency fire extinguisher, where if you had no other options to turn to and you have something that came up unexpectedly, this is where you turn to for this money only. The reason that it's important to have an emergency fund in place is because you never want to be in a position where you can't pay for rent, put food on the table, or buy essentials that you absolutely need to have. That way, you'll never be in a position where you have to turn into high interest credit cards or quick pay loans that will cost you a ton of money on top of everything else. It's like working in the opposite direction and you're stuck in a ditch, and instead of digging yourself out, you start digging yourself deeper in. Unfortunately, at some point in life, something unexpectedly can happen when you least expect it to. There'll always be that medical emergency that comes up, or you lose a job, or you lose that huge client, or your business starts to decline. So many unexpected things can happen that is not in your control, and it can happen to all of us at some point in time. This can be a daunting task to do, and it could take a long time to do. But when you do this, this is your peace of mind. This is your fortress. If anything ever goes wrong, you're covered and you won't have to stress over it either. Just that psychological aspect is priceless. To me, this is mandatory if you want to learn how to manage your money like the 1%. So the next step after you built your emergency fund is to take advantage of any employee-sponsored matching program that you might have. If your employer offers a 401k matching program, always take it. I repeat, always take the 401k matching program your employer offers you. If you ignore this entire video and you just make sure to listen this part, this can make you tens of thousands of dollars for free doing absolutely nothing by just taking your employer 401k sponsored matching program. Here's what I mean. Many employers offer a 401k match where they will match dollar for dollar up to a certain amount. Every dollar you contribute to your 401k plan, they will match it. For instance, if you contribute $1,000 into your 401k, your employer may match you an additional $1,000 to your 401k. This is free, guaranteed money. There are no other investments out there that will guarantee you 100% risk-free matching like their 401k employer plan. It just blows my mind that so many people out there don't take it or even know about it. It's like me literally saying, hey, here's $1,000 for free. And you're like, no, thank you. You can have your free $1,000 back. I don't want it. Because of the lack of education, unfortunately, people do not know what they're passing up on. But don't worry, with my videos, we're going to change that. So always take this money. Do it for yourself. Do it for your kids. Just take the free money. Just go to your HR department tomorrow or even today if you can and ask them if they have a 401k employer match and see what you can do and how much you can contribute to it and max it out and get the most amount you can out of this 401k match. By the way, if you're self-employed or you own your own business, you can do something called a SEP 401k, where you can reduce your taxes heavily by making your own 401k plan, and then you can match it yourself. That way you reduce your taxes by an insane amount and keep more money for yourself. Now on to the next step. After you collected your free money and you smash that like button, now it's time for you to pay off all that high interest debt that you have. This means that if you have any debt that is over a 5% interest rate and that is bad debt and it's not making you money, and after you collected your emergency fund and after you collected your free money, it is now time to pay off those high interest debt and get rid of them as soon as possible. When it comes to paying off debt, there are two methods to do this. The first method is called the avalanche method. This will mathematically leave you with the most money in your pocket. This strategy suggests that you pay off the highest interest rate first that's costing you the most money, and then you move on to the next highest, and so on and so forth until you paid off the full amount of loan to zero. By attacking the highest interest rate first, it will financially save you the most amount of money and put the most amount of money back into your pocket. Now, the second method of paying down debt, which is actually the Dave Ramsey approach, and that is called the snowball method. In this method, you pay off the smallest loan first just to free up some cash flow, and then you move on to the next smallest, regardless of what the interest rate is, until you have it completely down to zero. Now, the reason behind this is that once you start paying off small debt, you get that psychological boost, and it'll cause you to continuously go and attack other debt until you continuously pay it all down to zero. Now, the downside to this is that you end up paying a little bit more in interest, but it gives you that little boost to continuously go and pay down your debt. And if that helps you, by all means, go ahead and do it. My recommendation is if you have debt over 5% in interest rate, go ahead and pay it all off. Any debt under 5%, and that is good debt like a mortgage or a business loan that's helping you make more money, go ahead and don't pay it off early. That way, go ahead and save and pay the monthly minimum and invest the rest. The next step after that bad, nasty taste in your mouth debt that you just paid off is to go and invest whatever money you have left over back into yourself. For instance, buying books, learning new skills, investing it back into your business are all great ideas that you can use. I believe self-education at this stage is vital. I believe self-education at this stage is vital. The reason why I suggest this before anything else is if you're at a point that you maxed out and saved as much money as you can, now's the time to make even more money. You can only do so much and save so much until you hit that brick wall, and all you have left is to go and make more money. You might have to switch jobs or start another business or even start a side hustle in order to bring in more income. You now have more flexibility after you max out your emergency fund, and then after you collect that free money from your 401k plan, and after you pay off that nasty debt, you now have time to go and take some more risk in order to make more money. This way you'll be at a level where you can manage your money like the 1% do. Step 6, my next recommendation is to go ahead and contribute to a Roth IRA account. If you don't know what a Roth IRA account is, I made a video. It's going to pop up right here. Go ahead and click on it and make sure to max out your Roth IRA account for step number 6. This is an account that allows you to invest post-tax money, and anything and everything that you make into this account is absolutely tax-free, and you never pay a single penny to the government in taxes. This means you can make decades of compounded interest money absolutely tax-free, and you never pay a dime to the government, which is fantastic. Having a Roth IRA account is absolutely priceless, so make sure you take advantage of this. Step 7, after you maxed out your Roth IRA account, now's the time to go and open a taxable account and go invest in there. This means after you tracked your expenses, after you collected that emergency fund, after your 401k match, after you paid off all that high interest rate nasty debt, after you invested into yourself, this is after you maxed and contribute to your Roth IRA, everything else goes into this step. This step requires you to go open a brokerage account and start investing in stocks, or maybe start investing in real estate, or even starting your own business. This step is about making passive income and increasing your wealth. I know all these steps might sound really difficult to do and tough to start, but the best thing to do is just start one step at a time, starting with the first step. It's okay if one step takes a lot longer to accomplish, because it's pretty normal when you start something new. It takes a little bit of time to get used to. And after you finish that one step, go ahead and move on to the next one, because it gets a lot easier from there. These steps can take years to accomplish, so don't feel pressured or discouraged to stop at any point. Once you get started, everything gets easier from there. The hardest part of it all is just starting, and it all starts with step number 1, and that is smashing that like button if you enjoyed that video. With that said, thanks for watching my video. As always, make sure to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so YouTube can alert you when my next videos come out. Also, feel free to add me on Instagram. I pretty much post there daily, so if you want to be part of that, make sure to add me there. Also, if you want 2 free stocks from the stock market, Webull is giving out 2 free stocks. One for signing up to use their platform, and a second one for making any amount in deposit. It could be $5, $10, any amount. They'll give you a second stock worth up to $1,400. So make sure to check out. I got a link in the description below for that. Also, Robinhood gives out a free stock. Make sure to sign up for that one as well. Link in the description below. And thanks again. Until next time, make money with Mike.